Hi honeys, it's Michelle. In today's video, I am going to be going over slang terms from the past that nobody uses anymore. This way, when we watch old movies, we will know what the heck they're talking about. On top of that, you never know. Maybe you'll find a slang term that you like and you want to bring back. I'm going to start with the 1950s. The first slang term that I want to mention is daddy-o. I'm looking down at my laptop. I don't want to print all this out. That's a big waste of paper. Daddy-o is just a cool dude. For example, whatever you say, daddy-o. Made in the shade. I guess in the 1950s, being in the shade was a really good thing. I don't know if they even had sunscreen back then. I like being in the shade now, though, so I get it. Anyway, so an example of that one is, now that I've got a new job, I'm made in the shade. Ginchiest. A way to tell someone that you admire their appearance or personality. Baby, you're the ginchiest. Burn rubber. No point in having a hot rod if you're not going to show off its speed. When you press the pedal to the metal, your tires are going to burn some rubber. Let's burn rubber and show them what this car can do. Pad. A pad is your house. Let's go back to my pad and have some drinks, daddy-o. An ankle biter. An ankle biter is a small child or a dog. Basically, if it's small and it crawls near your feet, it's an ankle biter. You've got some cute ankle biters. How old are they? Okay. A wig chop. A wig chop is a haircut. Gonna head down to the barber shop and get a wig chop. Backseat bingo. Well, you know what that is. I'm not gonna. Beat feet. That's a way of saying run away fast. Let's beat feet before the cops get here. Cruising for a bruising. That's basically a guy that wants to get punched in the face. That dude is so annoying. He's cruising for a bruising. A greaser. A greaser back then was a cool guy. You know, they used to have the tight white t-shirts on with the cigarettes rolled up, you know, the arm rolled up and the cigarettes in there, and they greased their hair back. They were the 1950s version of a bad boy. Cut the gas. It's basically a way of telling someone to shut up. Cut the gas. I'm tired of listening to you. Gas. Okay, well, it's what it says. I didn't write it. Passion pit. That's a drive-in. Teenagers used to make out in the back seats of drive-ins, so a passion pit is a nickname for a drive-in. Raspberries. Okay, raspberries. It's kind of a non-filthy way of saying that someone excites you. Chuck Berry songs sure do raspberries. Classy chassis. That's a way of telling a woman that she's got a beautiful body. Don't take this the wrong way, Lucy, but you've got a classy chassis. Word from the bird. If someone doubts that you're telling them the truth, you can assure them that it's the word from the bird. Because everybody knows feathered and egg-laying creatures are never dishonest. I saw Johnny necking with your best girl, man. Word from the bird. It's a very neck-rolling one. Word from the bird. A knuckle sandwich, that's a punch. Get ready, jerk, I'm about to give you a knuckle sandwich. And then back then, a cat was actually referring to artistic types of people. Musicians, artists, that kind of thing. That Miles Davis is one hip cat. A gas. Having a lot of fun. All show and no go. A pretty car with nice wheels and so forth, but has no power. A bag meant to steal. Who bagged my wallet? Birth control seats is referred to as cars with bucket seats. Bitchin'. Bitchin' is good, great, or awesome. Book. Booking it is leaving the scene. Blitzed is drunk. Chinese fire drill. A car is stopped at a red light and all the occupants of the car get out of the car and run around it and get back in the car holding up traffic. Nope, don't get that one. Okay. cruising, driving up and down the strip, street, or town looking for members of the opposite sex. Drop a dime. That's actually using a payphone. They were a dime back then in the 60s, huh? I think they're like $4.78 now or something, and you have to use a credit card. Now, this one I'm mentioning just because it's offensive now, but back then it wasn't. And I want to mention this because I've heard it used in old movies a lot, and I thought, what? But I wanted to let you know so that you understand that they didn't mean it in an offensive way back then. A fag is a cigarette. Okay, the fuzz was the police. Going steady was dating just one person. Hacked was mad. Okay. A love bite was a hickey. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, this was used to get the storyteller back on track to the story he was telling. In other words, get to the point. It was meant to keep it short. And the phrase came from a series of westerns. Moo juice is milk. An old lady or an old man was referred to as your mother or father. Nowadays, people tend to use it when talking about their husband or wife. The pits is the worst, nasty, awful, meaningless. All right, so another one that now is offensive but wasn't then is queer. A queer was something to be considered dorky or dumb, as in those shoes are so queer. Okay, whereas now we know it's a derogatory word. Rave on, please keep it going. Okay. A skag was an ugly girl, and so is a skank. Huh, okay. A skirt was a girl too. A scuzz was a low-down, disgusting person, also referred to as a scuzz bucket. A stone fox was an extremely beautiful girl. Catch you on the flip side. The other side of today is tomorrow. I gotta run, but I'll catch you on the flip side. Do me a solid. Do me a favor. Boogie down. It's dancing. Psych. Oh, you want a piece of my gum? Here you go. Psych. And then you eat it. It's stupid. I don't know. It just is what it was. A brick house. A man finds a woman's body especially attractive. You might say she was built like a brick house. As in, well put together, proportionally perfect. Stop dipping in my Kool-Aid. When somebody's up in your business and they won't leave you alone, just tell them to stop dipping in your Kool-Aid. What a fry. If someone is acting unusual or wacky, you could accuse them of being a fry. I don't get it, but that's okay. I wasn't born till the late 70s, so I'm not going to understand their slang terms. The man. The man was actually an authority figure. It could mean the police, the government, or even your parents. Anyone who could take power away from you. Or anyone who had power, I guess. Spaz. He's not just a lovable, dorky character in Meatballs. Being a spaz is a state of awkward, spastic, and bumbling energy. Cool beans. You're not ordering a side dish at a barbecue place. Rather, it's an expression of approval. Take a chill pill. It's a way of telling you to calm down. Sit on it. It's just a nicer way of saying shut up. Space cadet. It's just somebody with no attention span. Out to lunch means confusion. I have no idea what any of that means. I'm out to lunch. Okay. Bogue. If you want to call something bogus, but you don't have the time or the energy to pronounce the Gus part, you say bogue. He blew you off again? That's bogue. Okay. I'm not bringing that one back. Skinny. It's wanting the entire truth of something. What's the skinny? To the max. That's when something is taken to the extreme, and it couldn't be more wild or crazy. Stella. A Stella is meant as an insult to a disco dancer. Calling them a Stella means you think they're arrogant and full of themselves. Let's move into the 80s, shall we? If you really want to get a hold on 80s slang terms, just watch the movie Valley Girl. That'll get you up to speed pretty quick. But in case you haven't seen it, gag me with a spoon. Gag me with a spoon is a way of saying you disapprove of something. I can't believe she wore those shoes. Gag me with a spoon. Choice. Choice is a way of saying that you approve of something. Your car's looking choice today, my man. Bad. It's opposite day yet again. If something's bad, it's actually good. I saw the baddest Trans Am down the block. Bag your face. If your facial appearance leaves something to be desired, perhaps you'd feel more comfortable with a brown paper bag over your face. I have so many zits. I should just bag my face. Okay. Gnarly. That means that something was especially difficult or even dangerous. Have a cow. When you're getting a little too emotional about something, you're having a cow. I'm just teasing you. Don't have a cow, man. No duh. Okay, that's basically saying that what the other person is saying is really obvious. Barf me out. Kind of like gag me with a spoon. He was wearing gym shorts to work. Barf me out. Not even. If you'd agree with somebody but have declined to go into detail, not even is a quick way of saying, I think you're wrong, but I'm too lazy to get into a whole thing about it. What's your damage? This is not really a sincere question. It's only asked when a person's damage has already been assessed and diagnosed. It's a mildly nicer way of saying you're not all there. Word, a sort of punctuation, either to what you've said or what somebody else said. It's kind of like saying I rest my case. Grody. When something is gross, but with a little extra oomph. You're eating so much nacho cheese. It's grody. To the max. Tubular. The opposite of grody. To be tubular, or better still, totally tubular, is to be remarkable and breathtaking. Grindage. Grindage is food, and it's eating it with enthusiasm. Do you mind if I help myself to the grindage in your fridge? Butter. Well, butter is smooth, isn't it? Nah, man, you gotta peg your pants. That's butter. I don't get that one. That example makes no sense to me. But I know what butter is, and I get what they're saying. Right? Bounce. To leave. I'm gonna bounce.
Are you ready for the 90s?
In my personal opinion, the 90s was the decade to be alive. I mean, the 80s was too, but the 90s is when I was a teenager, so I had a lot more fun in the 90s. I was a little girl in the 80s. You get it. If you want to understand what the 90s were like, watch Wayne's World or Clueless, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Biodome, Encino Man. Right?
Girl.
Huh?
Tank Girl.
I don't even know what that is. My husband says Tank Girl. I've never heard of it. If I never heard of it, it couldn't have happened, right? Mad Love. I loved that movie.
Records.
Empire Records, yes. Empire Records. And that one's got a really good soundtrack. That didn't come out till...
Yeah, it's still based in the late 90s.
Scott Pilgrim? I don't know. That wasn't my recommendation. It was his. The Bodyguard?
No.
Everybody loved that movie in the 90s. Oh, and as far as 80s movies, you might want to go with 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, Better Off Dead. I've got somebody helping me with this, obviously. E.T., Goonies.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, Lethal Weapon, Ghostbusters. What's the other one? Breakfast Club, St. Elmo's Fire. See, I just light up when I start talking about the 80s and 90s because those were the best. Karate Kid. 90s slang that nobody uses anymore. My cousin Vinny. Okay, I'm getting on to something else now. Because of all these movie references, tell me what your favorite movies were when you were a teenager. Because if you're watching this, you were probably a teenager sometime between, the 50s and 2010? Tell me what your favorites were from the 90s. All that and a bag of chips. That's quite the compliment. Kick him to the curb. Dump him. Get rid of him. That's what it means. Home skillet. Your best bud, your closest confidant, your best friend. Home skillet. It's about time you got here. Talk to the hand. Whatever the other person is trying to tell you has been rejected. You're no longer interested in talking to them at all. So you're just going to say to them, talk to the hand. Like, I'm not listening anymore. I'm done. Or you could do a double hand like I just did. You go, girl. Yeah, that's a good one. It's kind of a way of cheering on at somebody. You go, girl. Rock on with your bad self. Okay, the next one. As if. I think the first time I heard it was in the movie Clueless. It's kind of a sarcastic retort to something ridiculous. So if an unattractive guy is hitting on a beautiful girl, it's as if, booyah. Okay, that one's fun. When you're feeling so much exuberance, but no real word in the English language seems sufficient enough to capture the full scale of your emotions, it's booyah. I'm finally moving out of my parents' basement today. Booyah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not using it anymore, but scrub. A guy with no money, no job, no prospects, and no class. If you want to know what it is, listen to TLC's songs. The TLC song, No Scrubs. Scrub, I don't want no scrub. But an example is, I appreciate the offer for a date, but I have a strict no scrubs policy. Not was the 90s version of Psych. I think Spin Doctors are the best band of all time. Not. That's how we used to say that. Not. Fart Knocker. What the hell? Do you remember Fart Knocker ever being a thing?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was apparently asleep when that happened. A more confusing way to insult somebody. I'm not going anywhere with that Fart Knocker. Monet. Someone or something seems attractive from a distance, but when you get up close for a better look, it's a hot mess. Speaking of that one, I don't know if this is on the list or not, but we used to say Baldwin when we were talking about a hot guy. Did you see that guy over there? He's a total Baldwin. Back then the Baldwins were hot. Not anymore, but back then they were. You could look it up and see what I'm saying. It's just a cool way of saying all right. Oh, here's my favorite one. Whatever. When you're just done with somebody and you want out of the conversation immediately, whatever doesn't declare a winner or a loser, just that you don't care anymore. I said it all the time. I even had a shirt that said whatever. I wish I still had it. I'd be wearing it right now. Fly. If it's fly, it must be dope. Or, as your grandfather might say, it's the bee's knees. The dancers on In Living Color, watch that by the way, weren't called fly girls because they could levitate. They were just that awesome. Your Vanilla Ice dance moves are totally fly. Getting jiggy. Will Smith. It's been a tough week at work. I need to get jiggy with it. Bugging out. Weirdly, it's not usually meant as an insult. If somebody is bugging, they're behaving in unfamiliar ways that concern you. You want them to stop or at least explain why they're acting so crazy. You okay? You're bugging out. There it is. Open up a can of whoop ass. You know what that means. It's beating somebody up. Or you could just say opening up a can on him. Crib. A crib was somebody's house. Going postal. Going crazy. Did we not use that anymore? Oh. I thought we did. Yes, as Brad just said in the background, in case you didn't hear him, that is in reference to a postal worker shooting a... Wait, he got fired, right? And he shot up...
He got fired, so
yeah.
he shot up the post office to work at.
He got fired, and so he shot up the post office that he used to work at. And so then the term going postal came about. Oh snap. That was used to punctuate a situation that has taken everyone by surprise and which leaves everyone in a state of total disbelief. Pick up your face. It's used to describe an instance of embarrassment that you can't step down from. It was often used when someone proves you wrong. Salty. Used to describe someone who is angry about something. Why are you being so salty right now? Schwing. All right, if you if you watched Wayne's World, you know what schwing is. But if you didn't, it's kind of like saying score or haha or awesome. Sorry if you can hear my neighbors screaming. They never stop. So, step off. That's kind of like saying, hey, if you don't back off, I'm going to get violent with you. That's my name. Don't wear it out. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just a stupid term. I'm glad that one's gone. Let's not bring that one back, okay? Trippin'. Girl, you're trippin'. That's obvious what that means, right? She's flipping out. She's going overboard. Needs to calm down. She's acting crazy. What's the 411? That was a Mary J. Blige song from 92, I think.
411 was information.
Thank you, Bradley. I was about to say that.
Oh, well, she didn't come up with it.
I know. But 411 is the numbers that you would dial if you want to reach your local information establishment. So, what's the 411 is give me the information, give me the gossip, what's the scoop? Okay, since I've been talking about slang and we were just talking about movies, I wanted to dive in a little bit deeper to my personal opinion, or, well, these are my favorite movies from each of the decades that we talked about. Sorry, allergies are really fun right now. In the 50s, my favorite movies that I have seen are The Rear Window, North by Northwest, All About Eve, Vertigo. Singing in the Rain was really popular. I haven't seen it. Don't tell anybody. I've never seen that movie. Rebel Without a Cause, Ben-Hur, Some Like It Hot, A Streetcar Named Desire, From Here to Eternity. Well, I mentioned my favorite ones at the beginning. I haven't seen any of these. Okay, so let's see about the 60s. Psycho, Doctor Strangelove, 2001: A Space Odyssey, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I like that movie. The Graduate, Rosemary's Baby, both wonderful. Easy Rider, West Side Story, Mary Poppins, Planet of the Apes, The Sound of Music, Goldfinger, The Manchurian Candidate. It's amazing how many good movies come out. Lawrence of Arabia, The Birds, My Fair Lady, Bonnie and Clyde, Dr. Zhivago, Cool Hand Luke, Midnight Cowboy. Lots of good stuff in the 60s. Breakfast at Tiffany's. Ooh, To Kill a Mockingbird. That's a good movie. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Have you seen that? That's a good movie, too. And let's move on to the 70s, y'all. Jaws, The Godfather. The Godfather. The Exorcist, A Clockwork Orange, Alien, Apocalypse Now. Jeez, I can't talk. Taxi Driver, Star Wars. That was in the movie theaters when I was born. So was A Star is Born. You get it, right? I know. I'm just being silly. Rocky, Halloween, American Graffiti, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Chinatown. I love that movie. I don't even know how many times I've seen it now, but it's really good. A Dog Day Afternoon, The Rocky Horror Picture Show, Carrie, Saturday Night Fever. That's Brad's favorite movie of all time.
What is?
Saturday Night Fever. He hates it. Dirty Harry, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Grease, Monty Python's The Holy Grail, The Omen, Superman. Well, I thought that came out in the 80s. Mad Max, Blazing Saddles, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Kramer versus Kramer. Some good stuff. If you want to know what the 70s were like, there you go. Let's see, 80s. All right, so I already mentioned a lot of these. Oh, I forgot a few, you guys. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Aliens, The Princess Bride, Raiders of the Lost Ark. How did we forget the Terminator? And if you want to know more about the 90s, the second Terminator, that's a good one too. Stand By Me, Heathers, Top Gun, Die Hard, Die Hard. We forgot Die Hard, Bradley. Gremlins, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, The Lost Boys, Beetlejuice, The Shining, Dirty Dancing, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Beverly Hills Cop, Weird Science, Poltergeist, Caddyshack, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Big, Footloose, Say Anything, Tune, The Never-Ending Story, Scarface, Risky Business, Labyrinth. Oh, that's a good one. Can't Buy Me Love, Do the Right Thing, Airplane, A Christmas Story, Evil Dead. Don't tell me the 80s weren't fun. Those were some wonderful movies. And last but certainly not least, let's look at the movies that came out in the 90s. Now, Pulp Fiction came out in the 90s. One, Jurassic Park, Goodfellas, The Matrix, Silence of the Lambs, Toy Story, Schindler's List. You know, I went and saw Schindler's List in high school. It was like a field trip for a history class, and a bunch of parents flipped out because they didn't want their kids to see it. It's a part of history. I'm not really sure I understand that. But the Titanic, Forrest Gump, The Big Lebowski. Yes. Seven. Oh my God. Honey, Seven came out in the 90s too. That's one of our favorite movies.
94, 5.
Yeah, 95 it says. The Fight Club, The Sixth Sense, Shawshank Redemption. Yep, that's what it says here. Yeah, Matrix. The second Terminator.
That was 92, I think.
Yeah, or 92 or 91. I don't know. Reservoir Dogs, Good Will Hunting, Saving Private Ryan, Dazed and Confused. That's a good one.
Prequel Star Wars.
Clerks.
Clerks.
Braveheart. Oh my God, that's another movie I love. Braveheart came out in the 90s. Boogie Nights, Pretty Woman, Mrs. Doubtfire, Scream. Scream was one of those movies that, when it came out, was, to me, it was like epic. And now I watch it and I don't know what I liked about it.
Final Destination.
Final Destination. Although, okay, the first Scream I could still enjoy, but the rest of them, yeah, what the heck? I don't know. I didn't like them. I don't know if I liked them back then, but I certainly don't now. Ooh, Edward Scissorhands. Boys in the Hood. Holy, that movie was the ish back then. I don't want to swear, but that was a good movie. Boys in the Hood. What else came out, you guys? The Game came out. Starship Troopers. Unforgiven. I like that movie. Legends of the Fall. Me and my stepsister used to watch that movie over and over and over and over again. Oh, and A River Runs Through It. It's so funny how you look back on growing up and think, those were the days, weren't they? But at the time, they really suck. Anyway, okay. Well, that's all I've got for you today as far as slang we don't use anymore and movies I feel you could watch to help you get into those times and see what it was like back then. Let me know. Is there any slang that I forgot to mention? Is there anything that you want to bring back? Some of those were kind of fun. And let me know what your favorite movies in high school were. If you enjoyed the content of this video, please hit like and subscribe. Let a girl know you're watching. Thank you so much. Have a great day.